Welcome to Violin Adventures number 216. This week we get into cutting and carving the new violin. Remember our Appalachian mountain here? We're going to see how tall we can make it just today. Well, here's our beautiful back. It is finely graduated. So we have there on the inside, and I'll tap it for you so you can hear the tone. It's very responsive. The vibrations are really lively. Well, here's our Appalachian mountain. It's at a standstill right now, but it will be growing. But presently, there is scheduled quite an earthquake. Well, we have our back ready with nice tone. You can just hear that ring. And we've got our sides ready, but I haven't put the top together. Normally I have the top together by now. So this is just one piece of wood, and we need to cut it right down the middle. We need to open up this piece of wood so that we can make a match on both sides. So that's what we're going to do next. And then while it's drying, I'll have to start on the scroll carving. Okay, we've got our two pieces ready to go together. We just need some glue, so let's go check on the glue. Well, it looks like it's ready. We're here with our hot hide glue, ready to set up, ready to glue up our top plate. Checking the direction of the flame. I got this all squared so it will sit square in whatever position we have it. So now it's time to trace. Well, this is Wednesday and it's so peaceful and quiet outside. I thought it'd be a great time to go take a peek at the creek. The creek is really cleaned out. Looks good. Here we are at the bridge. Well, this poor violin exploded, and it turned out that the tail pin wasn't made of pure ebony, and so it rotted out, and the tail piece was just painted wood, and so of course it wasn't strong enough for all the pressure, and so it broke apart. Well, that's an easy fix. We got it a good strong ebony tail pin, and since it's a small violin and they usually need tuners, we've got a Whitner tailpiece we're going to put on here so that that doesn't happen again. Well, now we have a happy violin. Story time. Okay, back to our reading out of Violins and Violinists by Franz Farga. We are in part 2, which covers famous violinists. And I'm just going to read a little bit. Starting on page 123, we're going to read about Corelli. One day when Corelli was rehearsing one of Handel's new overtures, playing the first violin himself, Handel disagreed with his interpretation. He rushed up to Corelli, seized his violin impatiently, and played the passage in question. Corelli shook his head. "No," he said, "your music, Mr. Handel, is in the French style, but I know only the Italian style." Handel smiled, at once reconciled. He had a very high opinion of Corelli as a violinist and composer, an opinion which he voiced frequently later on. And then we'll skip ahead just a little bit more here. In 1683, Corelli began to make a name for himself as a composer, publishing 12 church sonatas for violin, viola, and double bass. About 60 more compositions followed during the next 25 years, earning Corelli his reputation as one of the classic writers of violin music. Corelli is described by his contemporaries as a quiet, almost over-modest man. He had to suffer a good many insults during his lifetime. For a while he worked at the court of Naples. During a concert at which Corelli played his folia, the king suddenly left the hall without any reason ever becoming known. This resulted in rumors that Corelli had dropped out of favor. To make things even worse, there was another awkward incident at the theater. During the rehearsal, Corelli had taken over the leadership of the violinists. During a difficult solo passage, however, he stuck, whereupon Scarlatti rebuked him harshly, crying, "Let's start again." At once Corelli downed his violin, left the theater, and returned to Rome the same night. The last years of his life were rather unhappy. The first concert which he gave after his return to Rome was very poorly attended. Despite his brilliant playing, the audience showed little interest. Corelli took this incident so much to heart that he sank into deep melancholy, from which death delivered him in January 1713. Only then was his great loss recognized in Rome. Summing up Corelli's work as a composer, it can be said that he put 18th century violin technique on a solid foundation. He exerted such a deep influence in Italy on the general attitude towards the violin that the upper classes accepted violin playing as an indispensable feature. Corelli was highly esteemed by J.S. Bach, who used several of the Italian's compositions as models for his own work. So there's a little bit on Corelli, and next time we'll be looking at another violin player. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, I'm Freddie, and I got some video here from England. This is where Cheryl and Ian Dyson went walking on the walls, the old Roman walls around the city of York. And then they came to this beautiful minster.
This picture was taken by Ian Dyson on our walk on the Roman walls of York, and someone offered to take our picture. The minster is coming up in the distance. Here we are at the foot, looking up the most impressive building. Once inside this most amazing building, I immediately spotted this structure. What is it?
Now, if you look almost above me here, up there, you've got a very big arch here. Up to the roof, you come back from the big arch, 3, you will see that. Okay, so right up to the top, from here, from the one above us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll see that. That's the same scene as I've just shown you in stained glass.
Now, after walking around a bit and admiring all the beautiful architecture, and here we are in a round room. We then came to the choir room, and this was
the grand finale for me. This room was completely wood carving throughout all the walls and beautiful carving. This intricate carving continued to go on and on. So much detail and so beautifully done. Every corner and every layer of the room was beautiful carving. And you can hear how great the acoustics are in this place. I can just imagine that Solomon's temple might have been similar.
Wow, that was amazing, and especially that organ. Well, we'll see you all next time, and don't forget to send in the projects you're working on. Bye!
The Hebrew Minute. And for our Hebrew Minute, I thought I would share with you a special menorah that came in our box from Israel this month. This says Hineni, which means here am I. And you remember Samuel as a little boy, he heard God calling him and he said, here am I. And then also Isaiah, he said, here am I, send me. So that is what this menorah is based on. So there we go, Hineni, and reading it in Hebrew, it goes Hineni this way. And here's the menorah. So he has the Hebrew letters, Hineni this way, and then mirroring it this way, meaning here am I. And he wanted it so it would also reflect the person looking at it. And this was made by Abigail Fieldman. And it says here that the Hanukkah candles have been lit for over 2,000 years. The Hebrew word Hineni expresses a person's response to the divine call. I am ready and available for whatever is required of me. That is a special menorah, and we'll put it up in our menorah collection. So here's a look at our menorahs and what we have. Right up close here is an early menorah copy in brass with the 10 Commandments behind the doors. This is another copy of an old one that I got in Israel, and has the little picture for the oil. This one also came from Israel. And then this is a smaller one, very pretty. And this one here doubles as an Israeli 7-branch or a Hanukkah 9-branch. Here's our new one, the Hineni. And then I gathered up all my brass candlesticks, and I have just enough for 8 plus the servant candle. So there's another menorah. And then over here is a combination of two candlesticks plus the back ones, and that makes another 8. So we're going to light these all up and celebrate Hanukkah. Well, here it is Friday, and you can hear it is raining. Let's go inside where it's dry. Back in the shop and back to work. Here's the back, all carved and ready to go to the next step. Here's our top, drying, and the next thing we'll do is cut out the shape. And over here, we're just going to get started on the carving of our scroll. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your great comments in the comment section. Thank you for the thumbs up. And thank you to the new subscribers. Until next time, bye.